Good evening and welcome to this day of Hump Day edition of the Angela Ray Show. I am Angela Ray. Hope that you have had a great hump day. And as always, whenever you get onto the broadcast, make sure you go ahead and chime into the comments. Let me know where you are watching from tonight. For all of our viewers who will be catching the broadcast on the replay, thank you so much for tuning in. Again, we're going to give you all a moment to get on the broadcast and then we'll be getting started. Yeah, I'm wearing red tonight, Edwin, because I am interviewing a fellow member of the Divine Nines. Of course, I had to represent tonight. All right, we are ready to go ahead and get started with tonight's broadcast. Of course, we're getting started with our Ray of Motivation moment. And for our Ray of Motivation moment tonight, I'm going to ask the question: are you drinking spoiled milk? Are you drinking spoiled milk? Now, there was a time in our country, particularly with poor communities, where products that were spoiled were often donated or about to spoil, about to expire, if you will, were donated to food banks to provide nourishment for those who were less fortunate. For most of us, when we know that something is getting close to the expire date, even before its or best by date, as some foods are actually labeled, we look at it, if the milk is like a day, within a day of the best buy or best use date, we're opening it up, taking the lid off. We're actually smelling it to make sure it's good because we know that taking something inside of our bodies that is supposed to provide nourishment and fuel for our bodies beyond that best by date is not the best thing for us. Now, my question for you is this: if you wouldn't put spoiled milk, expired or molded bread in your body, why are you allowing people whose expiration date in your life has already expired? Many of us know that there are individuals, maybe jobs that we are no longer supposed to be working at, but yet we stay long beyond the date when we were supposed to leave. So, my question for you tonight in this Ray of Motivation moment is: when are you going to get rid of the spoiled milk? And again, that's our Ray of Motivation moment for this Hump Day edition of the Angela Ray Show. Well, If you've been following us all week, you know that I'm in the midst of a series called Behind the Scenes. And keeping with that theme, tonight I have a very special guest. He is a director. He's directed almost 20 films. He has produced even more. He's a writer. He's also an actor and a member of the Screen Actors Guild, well, officially SAG after these days. Please help me welcome Mr. Christopher Nolen. Christopher, how are you tonight?
I'm doing very good. Thank you for having me. I'm honored and humbled.
And I'm backing up and I'm fanning because of that voice. I'm like, okay,
No, you
then.
good. You good. No doubt. You okay. All is well. All is well.
So you are a writer in addition to being a director and a producer. During
Right.
this time of quarantine and social distancing, what have you been doing with that time? Have you been working?
I have. I'm trying to get away from doing a lot of writing, but because we've been quarantined, um, I've been doing it. I want to focus more on directing, mostly directing, but also produce. But I really love directing. I just really love being able to tell stories. But right now, since we're social distancing and quarantining, and I'm a germaphobe, so I just stay in the crib and just continue to create. So when time is ready to really go out and get back to work, where everything is germ free almost per se, disease free or virus free, well, I'll get back out there with my team and we'll get ready to get some of these scripts I've been punching out into the can, the film can, if you will.
Now, you just mentioned that you're a germaphobe. So
Yeah,
how bad are you? Like,
I'm
do you
really.
not shake hands or?
Um. So before all this happened, when I was teaching about 20 years ago or so, I used to wear gloves and a mask to teach in my classroom because I knew how you can get sick. You get sick by germs, by someone else's germs, touching what they've touched or being around them when they've been contagious. So, um, also I've had hand sanitizer always in my car, in my pocket, whenever I go out to events per se. That's how bad I am, unfortunately.
Okay,
But
that's not too bad.
it's not too bad, right? But at the same time,
Nah.
same token, a lot of people have to understand, how do you get sick? You get sick from someone else being sick when they're contagious,
Hmm.
and if you can just not be around them or don't touch what they touch, you could be all right.
Absolutely. So I guess potlucks are out for you. You don't do that.
Oh, I don't do potlucks. No, I don't do that at all. Never have, never will. Got to be safe with that. I have no idea what's going on at you guys' crib. I don't know if your cat's on the kitchen counter, your dogs are
Hmm.
next to you while you're cooking. I don't know if you taste testing it. I don't know what you're doing. So no, potlucks
Right.
is not good for me. Can't do that.
Yeah.
Sorry. You know.
Nah. It's
Plus, you don't have any. They don't have any
understandable.
insurance. They don't have any insurance either. Where if I got sick, I can't do anything. I just got to be sick. But if it's at a restaurant per se, then I can, you know, we can do. If we at the restaurant we get sick, we can potentially have some type of lawsuit per se as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Have another
So
film made.
yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? That's real talk. So potlucks are out for me. Sorry.
No, it is all good because I've seen some stuff in my day, both at
Mm,
in the when I was in corporate America,
hmm.
going to use the restroom and seeing people
Yeah,
walk right out. So
nasty. I
yeah.
know, pretty nasty. Really, really nasty. Oh
Hmm.
boy.
Very,
Yeah.
very. And the double dipping in social
Mm-hmm.
settings, like,
Mm.
if this is a potluck, you're not supposed to. No. So yeah, I
Yeah,
feel you.
yeah,
I
yeah,
definitely
yeah.
feel
No,
you.
no doubt on that. Out of there.
So, in talking about your career, it
Hmm.
spanned some years. It spanned over two
Yes,
decades,
yes.
and you've directed quite a few films. How did you get your start?
Well, I started off as an actor model when I was younger, and I became real tall. I'm like 6'5", shoes on, maybe 6'5 and a half, 6'6". And so my agent will always tell me, Chris, they loved you. You did really well, but you're too tall. You were overshadowed, be overbearing for the leading man or the leading woman. So that I was like, you know what? Fine. So I just started to write and create for myself. And I got some friends who were tall with me, and we just started making movies. So I started to direct them, produce them, and I was like, yo, I like this. I'm able to create for my friends, for other people who are my friends on the crew. And that's how I just got my start. I just started directing a film. I didn't go to film school. I took maybe one directing class. But because I was an actor prior, I've been on a lot of sets and I did a lot of commercials. I kind of knew how a crew should move. I kind of knew what a director needed to do because I've been directed by some great directors. So me being an actor, it just really helped me, I think, to be a great director because I know what actors want. I know what they need. I know their process. So I'm able to be able to relate
Hmm.
to them really, really well. I'm able to get what I need to get from them as well. But I also know that you have to allow an actor to do their job. Once they're hired, allow them to do their job, allow them to act. You don't have to spoon feed them all the time, while you're on set. You just have to kind of guide them or just really direct the story. And they're just there to help bring the story to life for you as a director. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I kind of got
Absolutely.
my start. I've been really blessed, Angela, to continue to do it because this business is really hard. I'm just going to be honest. This is no joke. This is serious business. And I keep using the word business because it's a business and it's really, really difficult. But I've been blessed to have actors in Hollywood, crew members who are professional to really believe in what I'm doing. And I appreciate all of them for that so I can continue to do what I do.
So that's why you work with Tree so much, because y'all about the
Oh
same
man,
height.
yeah, Tree is he's like a brother from another mother. Tree and I grew up together in the same neighborhood. Um, and then we really got really close probably in the late 90s, and then from there we just developed a brotherhood for real. I mean, even though he pledged Phi Beta Sigma and I pledged Alpha, we still developed a good brotherhood, as black men. But, Tree is my guy. He is like, how they say Spike Lee and Denzel.
Oh yeah.
That's how me and Tree are, Um, if there's anything I can do, if I got a project, I'm hitting Tree up, see if he's available, because that's my guy. And he's doing the same thing for me. If there's anything that might be good to direct, he'll hit me up, So yeah, it's interesting you brought Tree up. That's like my brother for real, for real, straight up.
Well, thinking about some of the other people that you've worked with, Erica
Hmm.
Hubbard, Robin
Oh yeah,
Givens. I mean,
oh
you've
yeah.
worked with what many would say is Black Hollywood royalty. You mentioned you and Tree growing up together, but how
Hmm.
did you manage to have so many of those people sign on to your projects and early in your career?
Relationships, relationships, relationships. So let's talk about Robin Givens. So I was able to meet Robin Givens and work Robin Givens through Jasmine Lewis. Jasmine Lewis has been in like three of my movies, starred in my movies, and the movie that Four Seasons was the film. I said, "Yo, Jazz, do you know Robin Givens? I think she'd be perfect for this role." She's like, "Yeah, we just finished doing a project together." I said, "Listen, I know this is a long shot, but just ask her would she be willing to read the script, and if she likes the script, ask her if she'd be willing to be a part of it, and then we can go from there." And so that's how it happened. The relationship I had with Jasmine helped me get Robin Givens to be in the film and then also develop a relationship with Robin Givens. Same thing with Erica Hubbard. Now, Erica's from the South Side of Chicago, so am I. We've known each other for so long. We've always said we're going to work with each other. And so finally had a project, 72 hours that Tree stars in, and we just connected. And then from there, Angela, when you're working with like quote unquote Black Hollywood actors and you treat them well, you're professional, your team is professional, your sets are wonderful, the movies are good. They pass that word on to other actors, you know. And so then I'm happy to say that a lot of the actors, pretty much all of them, have pretty good things to say about me as a director and as a person. So that gets around. And so again, I've been blessed for it to get around. So when I do have a project, I can call somebody who knows somebody to get to that particular actor, or I can call their agent and manager as well, and they'll know who I am. And then they'll give me a shot to consider me using their client. So again, it's just about relationships. That is so important and so key in this business, the relationships and having good relationships at that.
Now, you mentioned Chicago. I've noticed. Have all of your films been shot in Chicago?
Every last movie I've shot has been in Chicago, where I've been born and raised. Absolutely.
Okay. And
Absolutely.
is that because of the resources? Is that just the commitment to home? What's been the driving force behind that?
Commitment to home, commitment to the people here at home. The Chicagoland area and the suburbs are like a character within itself within my movies. Relationships here in Chicago and the Chicagoland area suburbs are really good to me. So I'm really comfortable and happy to shoot here in the Chicagoland area. So again, I think Chicago and the suburbs, I think it's beautiful when you be able to shoot during the winter, fall, summer, spring. But also, like you said, the resources, the connections, and the commitment of people that I have that work with me as far as my crew members. They're just very, very committed people, and I love them here. Now, don't get me wrong. Eventually, I'm probably going to have to shoot somewhere else and develop other relationships in other places. But while I am doing independent films and I have a say so where I can shoot, the Chicagoland area and the suburbs are always going to be number one on my slate.
Now, you were talking about Tree being a Sigma and you are an
Yeah.
Alpha man.
Yes, ma'am.
Um,
Yes, ma'am.
has being in a fraternity, how has that impacted the support you've received in your career?
I think it's been huge. I got to commend all the brothers of Alpha Alpha for supporting me with everything that I do. Also, like I said, the Divine Nine, all the Greeks, I think when we're in this particular business, we do
Mhm.
support each other because we have that connection, going through the pledge process from beginning to end and, being able to bond with your line brothers and line sisters per se on your end, so it's been great. And I think that hopefully we can continue to be great for each other, especially right now, because times are hectic right now. We're going to make some good headway to get things done. But being an alpha man has been huge in my career. And I appreciate those brothers, the men of Alpha Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. I appreciate them a great deal, the brotherhood.
Now, I'll be honest. I've not seen all of your films. I've seen some, and I'm
Okay.
a Delta, and every now and then I'll watch a
Yep.
film. I'm like, why are there so many elephants on there?
Hmm.
Now I'll do the research and find out what the
Hmm.
producers, what are the actors were Delta.
Hmm.
Do you slip things into your films to kind of pay that
I,
homage, if you
I
will?
do. I'm glad you peeped that. I really do. I think I try to do it in all of my films, even with casting, with anyone from the Black Greek, fraternity and sorority. I like to try to get them in because we can have that connection, that little bond while we're on set per se. And I think it's great. I think it's really cool because I mean that's when you pledge, and then you pledge, you look out, but you also want to represent as well, not just you know for one organization, but truthfully for hopefully all of them per se. Like let's see, let's talk about deltas. I've worked with Noree Victoria. She's a delta. Who else is a Delta that I work with? Noree. Ooh, they're gonna kill me that I forget. Okay, if I go to the but
Mm.
I know it's
You
gonna
know what we do.
it'll come to me because I think it was another Delta that I worked with besides Noree on one of my films. I just can't remember at the time, but like for the fraternities with Tree, Sigma, Aaron D. Spears, a Kappa, Trey Ireland, a Kappa, Simeon Henderson, a Sigma, Christian Keys, an Alpha, my frat, an Alpha, uh, Harry J. Lennox, Omega Psi Phi, uh, Harold Dennis, he's another Kappa. Um, yeah, quite a few with the Black Greeks, So I think just having Black Greeks on the set, actors, and even behind the camera, I think it's pretty cool. And like you said, having little symbols in some of the movies are pretty cool for representation as well. You know.
We have a question from one of our very loyal viewers, Mr. Edwin Evans. Can you see
hmm
that question on the screen?
hmm hmm
Okay.
The biggest no-no on my set is having a real big having an ego, because when we're on set, we're all I want to consider all of us at the same level
Right.
as a family, being professional, having one goal, which we all are coming together as one to make the best story possible. And that's really worked for me on majority of all my sets. So I've been blessed again. I've been blessed to have a great crew and great cast on all of my sets to really come together to bring my vision to life as a director and as a producer. So I'm really happy about that. But I don't accept big egos at all. I just can't. I don't like drama behind the scenes either. But of course you're going to have some. But as long as I don't find out about it until after we're finished shooting the project, then we're good. But mostly the egos have to get checked at the door every day. That's a good question.
In this era of Black Lives Matter, there
hmm
has been a call for more Black stories, more Black content, amplifying Black voices. How do you
hmm
think that will impact your career? Because I know that you've been doing a lot of your own projects. Do you think that
hmm
will open the door for you to do more directing and producing of other people's projects?
I hope it does, Angela. I would love to. I think the impact is going to be great. And I hope this impact is here to stay. Hope it's just
Yeah.
not for a few minutes. I want this to be longevity for our stories to be told. And I look forward to working on a lot of our projects, for sure, directing and also producing. But sometimes for me as a producer, and I can be honest and say this, I like producing my own projects and directing because I think a director must have some type of producing background because you need to understand budget, need to understand time as a director. I mean, yes, you can be creative as possible, but you also have to understand the logistics as well. That's just important to me as a director. But then also as a producer, I want to be able to produce projects where a director is creative, but also understands the business. So when I come to that particular director and say, hey, you're not going to be able to get this shot because it's not within the budget. So let's talk about a different shot to help still tell the story that's within budget. And they can understand that and not get all mad and have an attitude. I ain't dealing with I'm not trying to really deal with that respectfully. So again, hopefully when the industry really opens back up and things are more safe to shoot, Hollywood is able to call people like myself and other filmmakers to start telling our stories with bigger budgets, where we have more days to shoot, to tell our stories, and really tell good stories about us as Black people, not the slave stories anymore. I'm getting sick of that. telling real stories about our lives with real characters. That's what I am praying that's going to start happening. Even more, not just more movies, more television shows that's relatable to us. So everybody in the world can see what we have to go through, what we're doing, and that we're positive people. We're just not always gangbangers, drug dealers, prostitutes, slaves. We are teachers, doctors, lawyers, counselors, mentors. You know, we are those. And we need to see that. We need to see those representation of us on the screens, television screen and movie screens. Wouldn't you agree?
I absolutely agree.
Thank you.
When you said that, it reminded me of, I believe it was last year, where there was a passenger in distress on a plane, and
Mm-hmm.
there was an African American doctor on the plane who wanted to help, but the flight attendant didn't believe
I
this
remember that.
individual was a doctor.
Isn't that
And
crazy?
I started thinking, yeah, not just deltas, not just my chapter, but I'm thinking my
Hmm.
line. How many
Yeah.
medical doctors are on my line, let
Mm,
alone
mm,
just black women that I know? Like I pledge with at
exactly.
least 3 or 4 who are medical
Wow.
doctors, and that don't even count
Yeah.
the PhDs and the JDs.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
yeah,
Hmm.
it that
Yeah.
and I think there was this kind of viral response of all these black women who were
Mm,
doctors who started posting their pictures to social media to let people know, hey, we
hmm.
understand that when you oftentimes see a show on television, doctors are often portrayed, not always, but often portrayed as Caucasian men, but there are
Right.
a lot of doctors of color, period.
Absolutely.
So
I
yeah.
agree. Totally agree with you all day long for sure. Absolutely.
So it's definitely important for us to see that.
Hmm.
It's one of those things that if people don't see it, outside of, our community, when you're in a community, what your community does, the
Right.
achievements of your community, but when you don't see that, you sometimes you don't know. It's
That's
just you
true.
don't know. You
Very
definitely
true.
don't
Very, very,
know.
very true.
So,
Very, very
what do
true.
you think the long-term legacy of this period of time is going to be, particularly as it pertains to content creators, to writers and directors and producers? Do you think that we're going to see stories that chronicle this period, or do you just think we're just going to have this influx of content, almost like the Harlem Renaissance?
Oh, it's going to definitely be a lot of stories regarding what we're going through right now. Um, Black Lives Matter stories are going to be historic, and that's great. COVID-19, it's going to be a bunch of
Oh
those
yeah.
stories as well, you know. But at the same time, same token, this is a time though where you're going to have those certain filmmakers that are going to make those stories. So other filmmakers start thinking, all right, we know we're going to have a group of filmmakers to make those stories. Let me think of some other things to make opposite of that, that we can still have our audience to want to see, right? So that's what
Hmm.
I've been doing personally. I've been doing that because I already know that it's going to be too many stories with COVID, and the Black Lives Matter movement. I already know that's going to happen in a lot of documentaries. But I'm starting to create other things that when we watch those other films that are going to come out about COVID and the Black Lives Matter, then we can also have some other things that are entertaining, that are funny, but also you can learn a lesson from them as well. So that's what I'm kind of working on right now as we speak. And I'm praying that this happens, that we're in the game. As African Americans, we are in the game. We will have a voice when it comes to entertainment forever, forever and ever and ever. This has to be the breaking ice to say, Hollywood has to say, all right, we got to start listening to y'all. We have to start hiring you guys at the executive level so you guys can, help us make decisions on what needs to go out into the world forever. I'm truly believing this, and it has to happen now. You know, we just cannot be only doing this for 6 months. No, we have to do this forever and ever and ever. That's just my opinion, and I'm praying that it happens.
That would definitely be nice if this was a
Yes.
long-term thing. I posted
Hmm.
on one of my social media pages that a lot
Hmm.
of people have pledged to donate money to
Mm,
causes that either amplify Black voices or help with diversity. And so my question was, I
mm,
know people who pledged in college but dropped line. So
yeah.
what's the accountability going to be for these pledges?
Right,
That's what
right.
I really, was beginning to wonder
I
because
agree.
it's a
I
lot of
totally agree.
pledges.
Yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly for sure.
So we got another question.
Oh, let me see. I like that question, Edwin. How would you deal with being on set in a post COVID-19 world? To be honest, the social distancing on a set is going to be difficult
Mm-hmm.
because you need people on set to make the story. So what they're saying now is that we have to have, I think, under 10 people on set while we're shooting, which is still going to be difficult, but at the same time, same token, it could be done. And we just have to prepare for while we're shooting during COVID, how to just separate our teams while we're shooting, making actors feel comfortable with one another because even getting COVID-19 tests, they're expensive, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
we have to really hope that the people we're bringing on are not asymptomatic to it, first and foremost. Hopefully that they can go to the doctor themselves with their insurance and get tested instead of productions, independent productions like my companies. That will just be too much for the budget. So that's going to take away from a lot of the creative, filmmaking, if we have to get everyone tested. So that's why my team and I, we're kind of waiting really for a little bit until probably sometime next year, to be honest. I'm not going to even say this year because it's just running, the numbers are running rapid right now as they're reopening everything everywhere. And they have to do that because the US is losing a lot of money. So that's why they're opening up everything now so they can start building the economy back up. And I'm playing it safe and I'm trying to play it smart as well, where I'm just going to wait. You know, I'm not going to be going out here risking not just my life, but anybody else's life either during this time because that COVID 19 is real. Some people don't think it's real. Oh, but it's real because I've lost some people to that. So it's really, really real. So, and these numbers are real too. When you go to the CDC website, take a look at the numbers. Those numbers are no joke. So, to answer Edwin's question, we'll do social distancing as much as we can. But I think honestly, that's still going to be tough to really do when you're trying to really make a great film.
Yeah, I've been wondering about that. I know that the IATSE, the DGA, and SAG-AFTRA
Hmm.
there were guidelines released on last Friday, and I haven't read
Right.
them all because I started reading them. I was like, oh, I need
Hmm.
to make a cup of tea, and this is
Yeah.
reading material,
Yeah.
and sit down and really study this. So I
Yeah.
haven't read them all yet, but
Yeah.
I am happy that they are definitely looking out for the safety of all
Me
involved,
too.
not just the
Me too.
actors, not just the director, everybody on set.
Everybody. Yeah, I
Yeah.
appreciate that too. I mean, and I appreciate them not rushing back to shoot some of these projects right away. I'm glad they're taking their time and they're being very, very smart about it. I know a lot of people want to get back to work because everybody has bills. We all have bills to pay,
Right.
but it would be better if we can get back to work when it's more safe.
Hmm.
That's how I look at it, in my opinion.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
Me too.
yeah,
So, I was gonna ask you what was next, but I think what's next for you is waiting and seeing. Would that be accurate?
yeah, yeah. What's next for me is just honing these scripts that I have. I'm in the midst of honing down a holiday script,
Oh.
Christmas script.
Hmm.
It'll be my third Christmas film, and then we're going to do the sequel to Valentine. That's another holiday film, and then I'm going to end up doing another health conscious film as well. Um, and then after that, I'm looking to do the TV series to the film Zodiac Sign, which is out now. So we're looking to do a TV series with that. So I'm just trying to master those scripts right now
Mm-hmm.
so we can get ready to go into production sometime next year. We're not gonna rush to do anything this year. Half of the year is almost over, and we're just waiting for 2020 just to be over. Get this thing out of here so we can start off fresh with a new year. And hopefully the vaccine will come, and the vaccine will really help out the world for people who can take the vaccine. Depends on what's in the vaccine. Some people are allergic to certain things. So again, it's going to be interesting to see what's going to really happen with the vaccine. I don't think they're going to make it mandatory. I don't know if they will, but just like when we have to get the vaccine for the measles and the mumps,
Mm-hmm.
I just kind of wonder what's it going to be for COVID-19 since it is such a deadly virus per se.
I'm really hoping this is going to be like a bad strain of the flu, that you have a
Okay,
bad strain and the next
okay,
year
okay,
it's we still have the flu, but it's
okay,
not quite the same because we know
okay.
that coronavirus is not new.
Right.
COVID-19, this
Team.
derivative is new.
Yeah,
So
that's right.
I am hopeful. That's
Yeah.
what I'm hoping, that it's
No.
just gonna be, this year we get past it. And
Okay.
while there may be some flare-ups from different types and strands of coronavirus, maybe we just won't have the corona
I hope so too. I
COVID-19.
hope you're
I
right,
hope
Angela.
so.
I hope you're right on that. I really do.
That would be nice.
That would be
That would
nice.
be
That would be
nice.
very, very nice. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So as we wrap up, I just want to
Hmm.
ask, what advice would you
Hmm.
have for someone who's interested in getting in the business, particularly behind the scenes? And you, since
Hmm.
you started in front of the camera, there may be some actors who are watching as well. You can also offer advice for getting started as an actor as well.
And that's a great question. Let me answer that. Let me see how I'm gonna answer this. I'm gonna answer it honestly. Okay. So as far as acting, let's go acting first. Practice. Um, Practice watching films, television shows.
Mm,
If you want to be a television or a film actor, watch the shows, watch the actors, watch how they move, watch how they speak, watch how, especially if you watch a TV series, watch how their character develops in every episode. Um, I think that's really, really important. Then, if you want to be a stage actor, a theater actor, try to see right now there's no theater going on, but there are some videos of theater acting. Watch those. Read. Also talk to other actors who are working actors. Hopefully, they will be willing to share information with you. Don't get me wrong, some people are very stingy in this industry about sharing information. I don't know why, but they are. They just feel like if I tell you something, you might get better than me. So I ain't gonna be able to get no work if I tell you. That's just ridiculous. That's stupid. Um, okay, so that's actors, right? Directing and producing. Okay, let me start with writing. Writing, just start writing. If you want to write a script, a screenplay, get Final Draft. That is the script screenwriting program you need to get to start typing out your scripts. Final Draft 11 now it is. Get that. Invest in yourself and buy that. Um, if you're directing, if you want to direct and produce, start watching some of your favorite directors' movies or TV shows. You know, also understand editing. As a director, you have to understand editing because when you're directing on set, you're directing like a puzzle. You have to put certain parts together, and that's where it comes to editing. You have to know what's going to cut, know what's not going to cut to still tell a good story. So as a director, understand not just directing, but understand editing as well. And also, if you can, start learning a little bit about lighting, even though that's a cinematographer's job. and but you can still learn a little bit about it because there might be a certain look you want in the scene based on the script. Like when I did My Line Valentine, I told my cinematographer it's a Valentine's Day movie, so when they go to this restaurant, I want the restaurant to look red. So I have to understand. We have to understand the lighting for the look Delta red. You know what I'm saying? So we did that. Also, when you're producing, use your own money if you can. Use your own credit because you have to start investing in yourself. You want to go around asking people for money, but you're not putting any of your money up. If I'm an investor, why would I invest? I want to see how serious you are because do you believe in yourself? You should. So put some money up for a project you want to do. You
Mm-hmm.
know, if you have some cash, say do that. If you have some pretty good credit, put some of that credit up. Get a loan, use a credit card. I'm a firm believer that if you want to get something done, you have to be the first person to help get it done. So if you need to raise $10,000 to shoot a movie, you should try to put up 5,000. So you can go around and get the other 5,000. Say, look, I got 5,000 on these 10. I put up this 5,000 myself. Can you come on board? And then that investor is going to lose you like, wow, you put up 5,000. You really serious about this. So that's just my advice on that. But also, don't be afraid to ask questions to people in the industry. Again, hopefully they will give you answers because Angela, you and I both know that some folks, again, they're just not giving at all, which
Mm-mm.
makes no sense to me. But try to find like-minded people in the industry as well on what you're trying to do and just continue to believe in yourself and believe what you want to do. I've never met a person who has not completed something that did not quit. If you don't quit, it's going to eventually get done. It might take you some time, but it will eventually get done if you don't quit. So, all in all, just believe in yourself, don't quit, create your own content, make your own content that you create, put up your own money or your credit, try to find like minded people, read, study, and you should be good because those are all the things I've done. Like you said, I've directed all these films and produced all these films, and I didn't do it alone. I had a lot of help, and I'm blessed to do that. So I want to pass that information on too. And whoever's watching, hit me up. You know, hit me up, and you got a question. I'm gonna answer your question. I'm gonna give it to you real too. Straight up. But also understand that you got to believe and you got to be serious. See, some people want to be in this industry, Angela, for the red carpets, for they think they're gonna make a lot of money. They think they are. That's no. That's don't think you're gonna make a lot of money. You need to do it for the passion. You need to have a passion. Money will come, but red carpets will come if you want to do it. But do it for the passion. Do it for the love, and then you'll start seeing more success come for you. I hope that makes sense.
It absolutely makes sense. And you already put that invitation out there. I was actually just about to ask you. I know that
Okay.
you've been shooting all of your films in Chicago. I was about to
Hmm.
ask you, are you open to interns? And
I
so
am. Yes, absolutely. All day long. Yes, I am open to interns. I've had plenty of interns on my sets, and a lot of them are now working as crew members on big TV shows or big time films. They're doing their own things. I do mold a lot of people into what they want to do. I always ask, well, what do you want to really do? If you want to direct, produce, write, let me know. If you want to do all of it, let me know. That's real. To me, that's real because then I can kind of guide you in your direction where you want to go and help you. But I got to see the passion though. I got to see the hunger. I got to see that want. I got to see that drive. You know, that passion is real in this industry, and it's going to take you a long way because I don't know if people keep saying some people have, what is it, overnight success. I don't really believe that. I don't really believe overnight success. I mean, people have to uh, crawl before they walk. Well, I'll take that back. They crawl, then they stand up and just really start to walk. And then after you start walking, you start jogging. Then once you're jogging, you start running, you know. So it's a process in this business for sure, because you will go through a lot of mountains and hills. Because again, as I stated earlier, there are just some people that are not going to want to help you
Right.
or will help you. I remember Dion Taylor, a fellow film director who directed Black and Blue and Meet the Blacks. He said 90% of the people in this industry will not help you at all, but 10% will. The tough part is finding that 10% that's going to help you.
Yes.
And he was so real with it. When he said that,
So
I was like,
true.
yo, that was so real. It's real, you know? So hopefully we can all find that 10%
Absolutely.
to help us all
Absolutely.
do what we need to do in this industry.
Now, if there is someone watching, let me just say this as kind of
Oh,
like a disclaimer. If there's someone watching and you're thinking about reaching out to Christopher, being an
yes.
intern, make sure you're serious. And let me tell you why. Uh, I I never would tell anyone I'm a casting director, but because I used to produce my own plays and as an
Hmm.
independent producer, I was casting my own plays. So I know that I had started to work on a casting eye. So from time to time, I do some casting, smaller projects,
Hmm.
PSAs, commercials. And so I had a young lady who was interning with me, just me
Hmm.
personally. And she
Hmm.
said, what I really want to do is casting. And I said, "Oh, you're in
Hmm.
luck. I have a casting session coming up soon. We're bringing everyone in.
Nice.
It's not self tape. We're bringing everyone in into the room for the session. So she was my casting assistant for the day, just signing people in.
Mm.
At the end of the day, though, she got a chance to come in the room when me, the producer, and the
Mm.
director had all the headshots and resumes out on the floor, and we're trying to figure out
Nice.
how we're going to put this family together. Now,
Mm.
what got under my skin, what
Hmm.
made me decide I will never, ever, ever bring her in a room again, she
Hmm.
was scrolling her phone while we were doing that process.
Not good.
Oh, not good at
Not
all.
good.
Because I was thinking to
Mm.
myself, as an actress, it's beneficial
Yeah.
for me to be in the room as a casting director because I
Yeah.
get to see the director's mind and the producer's
Right.
mind and how they put it
Right.
together. So that's helping me. Even watching other actors come in the room, the ones that come in with confidence, the ones who don't,
Hmm.
the ones who are standing there trying to waste our time and spend more time in the room and we can see that they're stalling. I was able
Yeah.
to see all of that. So all of that's beneficial to me. And I'm thinking you're much younger in the game than I am, and you're
Mm.
not taking this opportunity seriously.
Mm. Mm.
Okay,
Mm.
let me make this note. Let me make this mental note.
I'm shaking my head out. Shaking my head out. SMH.
But but there are people like you said, the opportunity is there. You just said, hit me up. Your
Yeah.
Instagram is scrolling. You don't have a private
Yes.
account, so it's easy
Yeah.
to access
Yeah.
you. And then yeah, just don't do that and happen to mention I saw you on the Angela Ray show. No,
Right.
don't do that. Just
I'll be
make
like,
sure you're
Angela,
serious. Right.
this
Don't drop
girl
my
here
name. Don't drop my
was
show.
so, man, she was just straight garbage. No, let me stop. I'm not gonna. I won't do that. I won't do that. No, I won't do that
But
at all.
people will drop a name. I had that happen to me maybe last year. An
Mm.
agent called me and said, "Hey, I met
Mm.
such and such at this event," and she immediately dropped your name. So I listened, and in my mind, I'm like, "Well, I didn't
Yeah.
recommend her. She
Right.
knows
Right. Right.
me, but
Right.
I
Right.
can't.
Right.
I can't recommend her,
You
and
can't.
here's why
Right.
I can't recommend her."
Yeah.
So people have to be careful with their name dropping too.
I agree. Totally agree with you wholeheartedly. I tell people all the time, if you're gonna drop my name, you gotta hit me up first before you
Right.
drop my name, and I gotta approve it. If you start dropping my name and they call me, I'm be like, nah. I'm be honest with you, nah, nah, not over here. No. but I need them to hit me and let me know if they can drop my name. That's like, and I do the same thing with people that I know as well. I hit them up and say, hey, about to talk to such and such. Is it possible I can use you as a reference to drop your name that I know you or we work together? And they're like, cool. So I want people to do the same for me.
Absolutely. Well,
Yes, ma'am.
Christopher A. Nolan, it has
Yes,
definitely
ma'am.
been a pleasure talking. I
I,
have, yeah, look, I just enjoy just listening to you talk with that voice. It's just
you
like,
are funny.
oh, did
I
he
appreciate
say?
that.
I missed it. What did he say? Okay, I'm about to
I,
go back and rewind
I,
that
pre-
later.
I, no, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. I mean, I've been, I've also done voiceovers and do voiceovers as well. So I've been blessed to have this voice and use it to my advantage. In a positive way. You
See, as
know,
soon as you said that, you know I'm
yeah, no, all positive ways, of course. But I've had a great time on your show as well. I was happy you hit me up, and I wish you nothing but the best. Keep doing what you're doing, my sister. I'm proud of you. Whatever you need, let me know. Hit me up. You got my info, and thank you again. I really, really appreciate you.
Thank you. I'm sure this won't be the last time that
No,
we cross paths. I'm sure.
no, absolutely. We definitely will be talking more for sure.
Definitely. Well, enjoy the rest of your evening.
You too, sweetie. Appreciate you.
Okay. All
All
right.
right. All
Have
right.
a
Have a
good
good one.
night.
You too. All right. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Well, that's it for this hump day edition of the Angela Ray Show. As always, I would like to remind you of Ray of Motivation number 54. Cleaning a mirror will not change the person who is reflected in it. Until tomorrow, I encourage you to go out and be the change.